Well, there's a few news stories. This one might be important to the students. They say a lot of people that go to community colleges and then try to transfer to four-year colleges end up hosed because the four-year colleges refuse to accept your classes and say the average is you lose a whole semester of work and have to do it over. So if anybody didn't already know that, be very cautious. It's the four-year colleges are hard to make a deal with. And I know in our department only a few classes transfer as official classes, the rest just transfer general credit. So, if you are planning to go to community college and then transfer to four-year college, you really have to plan it carefully because you can very easily get hosed. And I've been waiting for this. This always seemed to me like the obvious answer. This company called NIO in China and Europe has got a battery replacement system, which seems like the obvious thing to do. I mean, charging up your battery takes like an hour or more, and that's ridiculous. So they should just trade your old batteries for fresh ones. And they have an automatic machine that will do this in a few minutes. It reaches under with some kind of mechanical arm, it takes off the old battery and puts in a fresh battery, and off you go. This would be, yeah.
Actually, this idea came out from Professor Al in Michigan.
Professor who?
The professor Al in Michigan, University of Michigan. The professor
from USA, Michigan. Yeah, I mean, it's
came out this idea, and then in the U.S., kind of no investor want to do it.
Yes, that's what they said.
End up went to China and China picked it up.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like an obvious solution, but Tesla said it will never work. It's not worth doing. An American company said it never work. It's not worth doing. I don't really understand what the problem is. This seems obvious. It works for flashlights and phones and everything else.
The investors, no investor want to invest like this. So.
Well, I don't understand because they're going to legally require electric vehicles within a few years in California. And if you have to stop every 200 miles to charge them for an hour, that sucks. That's ridiculous. Why should anybody put up with that? This is obviously what we need.
Now the charger, they were designed to be charging 10 minutes. So
from 0 to full in 10 minutes?
Not
Yeah.
0 to like 80%.
Oh, well, if it was 0 to 80% in 10 minutes, then that's all right. Well,
that is the design aspect.
well, if the charger is as fast, then I guess it's okay. Anyway, that's another alternative.
But in China right now, they have like charger is a lot higher power.
Yeah.
Like 60 volt and sometimes like 200 volts. It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, I know another thing is they've said our power grid doesn't have enough power to charge all these vehicles either. So anyway, we'll see. But as usual, California's environmental goals are very aggressive. We've tried to push something really fast in these electric vehicles that the power grid's not ready for and the charger's not ready for. And however, that's what California does. We're leaders in environmental things. So we're pushing ahead, pushing the envelope.
No, all the company waiting for the government to give subsidies.
Well, they are giving subsidies now, but only in...
They're all waiting for free money. Or else
Well-
they won't invest.
well, they
If
are.
free money, they want to have a dividend.
Well, as part of the
returns.
as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, they passed a bunch of electrical vehicle subsidies, but they are very hard to get. You can only get them if all the components in your car come from America, and that's almost never true. So the last article I saw said of all the electric vehicles out there, only 2 of them qualify for the subsidy, because most of them have parts from China and other places.
All the Korean company, they're complaining the bureaucracy is too much hassle.
Well, yeah, that's a problem. Anyway, so Mastodon, which is what I moved to, like the whole information security community abandoned Twitter maybe about 5 months ago and moved to Mastodon. Since then, some people have gone back to Twitter. Anyway, now they're trying to make Mastodon easier to get on. The whole thing about Mastodon is doesn't have one server controlled by one person. It's a federation. You can set up your own server if you want. Any company can set up your own server, and then you can join the community. And if they don't like you, they can't shut you down. They can just defederate you so that most people won't see you. But you could set up your own private Mastodon server. You could set up your Mastodon server to talk about something horrible like Nazis or child pornography or something that nobody else wants to talk about. And they just block you from the main Mastodon servers. You can continue to do it until law enforcement catches you. But so the point is, that people find it confusing to join because they ask you which server to join. And now they're going to give it a Mastodon.social default joining. So that will probably mean like 90% of everybody will be on Mastodon.social. And people are arguing whether this is a good idea or not. I don't know. I think it's probably a good idea because I'm on infosec.exchange, which is just information security people. And that's fine. It's not a general place where I have celebrities and politicians and angry Nazis and everything on there. It's just information security people. It suits me fine. It's just for business. Anyway, we'll see if this does anything. It does. Elon Musk does seem to be continuing in his sincere efforts to set Twitter on fire and drive everybody away.
Isn't today the news, the founder of the old Twitter want to restart another Twitter?
Yeah, Blue Sky. That was Jack. Jack, who founded Twitter, left.
Dorsey.
Jack, what?
Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey. Oh, I don't know him. That's the Blue Sky you're talking about, or is there another one?
Just come out today. He gonna get
Another social network.
Yeah, to start another similar to Twitter.
Yeah. Do you know the name of it?
No, they just come out today.
Okay, I know the one Jack put out is Blue Sky, which was supposed to be.
Right? Only come out today.
It's, as far as I know, it's not even really out yet. It's only for invitation only. I don't think it's, maybe it's publicly available. But anyway, people say, people argue about whether it's any good. He was going to somehow make it less centralized. I haven't tried it. I'm not really interested in jumping all over the place. Mastodon's working fine as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, so this is kind of interesting. I didn't notice to change this much. Last I paid attention to browsers, there was pretty much a three-way tie between Mozilla, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. But that's not true at all anymore. Now it's back to what it was a few years ago. Chrome totally on top, 66%. Then Safari, then Edge. And then Firefox, and then Opera. So I'm pretty surprised by a lot of this. I'm surprised that Edge is so bad. And I'm surprised that Opera is so good. So anyway, it's interesting. I always have a lot of browsers, not really because I think one is better than another, but I have so many accounts, and I'm logged into this with that, and this one I'm not logged in, and this one has like, the main one I use, I've set to experimental dark mode to get rid of the blue light. It's supposed to be bad for you, so I have to look at other ones, the pages get ruined. Anyway, I need a lot of browsers. Someone said you should use Vivaldi, so I just put that on here, because I seem to need about at least 5 or 7 browsers just to get through the day. Yeah.
What's the top of this thing?
Stat Counter, NeoWin. One of these sites that keeps track of this. I used to teach web design and stuff, and I paid attention to this, and it was interesting to watch who was on top. You people may not be old enough to remember, there was a time when Microsoft was on top with like 99% of the operating system and the browsers and everything. There was a time when they were on top of the world, and the government was going to shut them down for antitrust lawsuits, and they brought in Bill Gates, and he said, you don't need the government to shut us down. We're running as fast as we can to stay on top of this rolling ball, and as soon as we stumble, we'll fall. And that's totally what happened. They've fallen down to, number 3, number 4. They're still making a ton of money, though, from Azure. Not from these other things. Office is worth a lot, but Azure is their main money maker. Just like Amazon, AWS is the main money maker. So Microsoft did totally fail to pivot to mobile devices, and they lost a lot of money from that, but they made a really good pivot to cloud, which saved them. And that's the way Microsoft has always been. They're like a movie studio that puts out 4 bad movies and 1 good one. They put out a lot of terrible products and then a good one. Anyway, apparently there's not enough 911 dispatchers at all in San Francisco, so they have mandatory forced overtime for them, and they're all burning out. And when they have emergencies, they can't keep up. So last month there was a windstorm, 80 miles an hour on March 21, and their goal is to answer 911 calls within 10 seconds, but they totally can't do it when the volume gets high. And they've got a chart here showing, yeah, there we are. This is how many were answered in 10 seconds, 66%, then it gets back up to the 90s, then 68%, and so on, 25%, 14%, and they say there's not enough workers, they got to hire more, they can't find them, which is what they also say about police, which I think is a lot of why we have so much street crime here that all of us are irritated by. So anyway, that's San Francisco for you. Of course, another thing is downtown real estate is plummeting. They just sold a building that was worth $300 million for $60 million, one of the skyscrapers downtown. And they said, those skyscrapers, those financial district skyscrapers are just sitting empty. And they hoped that when COVID was over, they would fill up again, and that is totally not happening. What happened is people got used to working from home, and their bosses got used to it, so people are not going in 5 days a week. They're hardly even going in at all, so there's nobody downtown. So the cafes don't have business, and so the BART is moving its trains from daytime to nighttime and weekend because the daytime trains are not full. And this means they say the tax base of San Francisco is going to plummet. There's much less business happening in San Francisco. So anyway, there'll be.
Today, some people say the bank could still have problems the next big problem is the commercial loan to the buildings.
Yes. One thing I've noticed,
Previous was the government bond, right? So they check out the interest rate, and now is the next big one.
yeah, and I think you're right, because the banks must have financed all those buildings. And the other thing,
You have to write it down like 1/3.
yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, you have to write it down by a third or even more. Yeah, another thing that I know is a godsend is I suddenly hear commercials everywhere. You should invest in commercial real estate. You haven't had this great opportunity. You know, when they're advertising it to the masses, that's because it's garbage. I mean, I never heard an ad offering to invest in commercial real estate until 6 months ago. Now I hear them everywhere because commercial real estate is just a way to throw your money away. Anyway, yep. Anyway, well, I see Mercodes Online says it's really sad. Well, I don't know, but it's a change. I mean, this whole area thrives on disruption. So here's our latest disruption, I'd say. I'm not sure it's bad, but it is. It's going to lead to some chaos in the time of transition, anyway. Anyway,
Oh, Trish, open up the stream chat.
the screen chat.
Trish, open up the.
I've got it. It
chat.
says someone says it's really sad, actually.
No, someone open up the stream chats.
I've got it. I just see two.
No, before they block it off.
Oh, before you could only see it if you're logged in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the chat. Good, I'm glad to hear it. I think that must have been temporary. Originally, you could see it without me being logged in. Anyway, I'm going to stop this recording.